Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, double honors to elders of GMS. Much love to you brothers that come by, all faith and honesty. Quick story, just to start off the morning, but you know, things are moving quickly, so you just gotta keep your eyes out. Things are happening day by day instead of it's like the birth pains, like it says that it's like the kingdom of heaven is like a birth, you know, a woman giving birth. So the contractions are happening further and closer and closer together because it's closer to the birth. All right.
Russia says it's concerned by reports that Israeli warplanes bombed targets in Syria. Hello, Russia says it is gravely concerned by reports that Israeli warplanes have bombed targets in Syria close to Damascus. It's describing the attack on a military research center as a gross violation of the UN Charter. There's been no official confirmation of the raid from Israel, which has repeatedly warned that it would act to prevent Syria's weapons from falling into the hands of the Lebanese Islamist group Hezbollah. Syrian state TV says 2 workers there were killed. Beth McLeod reports.
The official Syrian account of what happened in the early hours of Wednesday was announced on state television. They say that Israeli jets flew in fast, below radar level, and bombed a military research centre, killing 2 workers and causing damage to several buildings. Some Syrian rebel groups, however, dispute the government's version of events, saying their forces attacked the site. The Syrians describe the site at Jamraya, just northwest of Damascus, as a scientific centre aimed at raising the level of self-defence. It's widely believed by analysts outside Syria that chemical weapons are stored there. The Syrian account contradicts earlier reports that Israeli jets had bombed a military convoy heading from Syria to the Lebanese border. Lebanon said that low-flying Israeli warplanes entered its airspace near Syria. The Associated Press quoted a US official as saying the targeted lorries were carrying anti-aircraft missiles. The Israeli government hasn't commented on these reports, but senior officials have said in recent days they're concerned about security risks from the north, both from an unstable Syria and from Lebanon, where Syrian chemical weapons and missiles could fall into the hands of Hezbollah. Queues formed around Israel and the West Bank on Wednesday for gas masks. The chief of the Israeli Post Office said that demand for them had surged in recent days because of government warnings about chemical weapons from Syria. Beth McLeod, BBC News.
And in a moment, we are going to be speaking to our correspondent Jim Muir, monitoring events from Beirut, about what happened there. Now, let's return to our top story. Those reports that Israeli warplanes have bombed targets in Syria close to Damascus. We can speak now to our correspondent Jim Muir, who's in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Jim, can you shed any more light on what happened and what may be behind this?
Well, clearly there was an Israeli airstrike. The Israelis are being very coy, as is their wont, about actually officially confirming it, because they don't want to be seen as getting mixed up with the Syrian internal crisis. There was an airstrike, that seems to be clear, but that's about all we can say with certainty, because there are 2 conflicting versions of what happened. The Syrian official account is that a research facility, a military research facility at Jamraya to the northwest of Damascus was hit and badly damaged, even destroyed by this attack. Now, they haven't provided pictures on Syrian TV to corroborate that. Jamraya is not far from Damascus. It wouldn't be logistically difficult for them to do that, but they haven't shown pictures that would prove that their version is correct. The alternative version, which was circulating before the Syrian official statement came out, is that, and this is coming from diplomats and security officials in the region, all unnamed, said that it was basically a convoy of arms destined for Hezbollah and heading for the border that was struck. And that certainly would fit in with the kind of prior, if you like, psychological preparation by Israeli officials who've been saying for several days that they're watching the situation very carefully and that any sign of arms transfers to Hezbollah would be a red line that they wouldn't tolerate.
We've also been hearing Russia saying it is extremely concerned, Jim. We've also heard a response from Hezbollah in the last few minutes.
That's right. Hezbollah is basically embracing the Syrian official account, as you'd expect, and saying that it's expressing its full solidarity with Syria. But the Russians are a bit more ambivalent. They're saying if these reports turn out to be true, we're still investigating them. then we would condemn the attack, and it would be an unprovoked breach of Syrian sovereignty, the UN Charter, and so on. So a slight note of uncertainty struck by the Russians, but they do obviously feel the need to condemn it if it's true. But as I say, they're quite well in a position to judge these things. They're deeply involved with the Syrian military, and they're saying they're still checking out the reports.
Jim, thank you very much for the update. Jim Muir there in Beirut.
He already said they're deeply involved in military ties, so it's time. Things are moving. All right, all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua.